Here they come!
While it may not get the critics' attention as much as Game of Thrones or Vikings, The Last Kingdom has proven to be one of the most underrated television shows on Netflix. Not only is it full of gripping storylines and characters, but it also showcases astonishing fight sequences and battles. Like a popular adage says, life isn't perfect, but it has perfect moments. Today we're going to be talking about the most paused moments in The Last Kingdom revealed by the fans. While fans are excited for the next season of The Last Kingdom to arrive on Netflix, they're also probably quite worried about what could happen to their favorite characters. Before we begin, please take a second to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the new videos we post. So here's a question for the fans. If they had to pick which moments or scenes were the best, what would they end up choosing? Better yet, which ones did they feel lived up to their expectations or felt anticlimactic? Here are the most paused moments in The Last Kingdom. The first one is Athol Red and Athol Flaweds' reconciliation. Reconciliation might be a strong word to describe what happened between Athol Red and Athol Flawed on her deathbed, but it still ended up being our favorite scene. It's hard to deny the emotional truth the two performers brought to the moment. Their marriage was marked by pain, betrayal, and outright murder plots. And yet, when Athol Red lowered his guard in his final hours, it was hard not to feel for him. We're not sorry he's gone, but we didn't celebrate like we'd be planning for 3 seasons, thanks entirely to this one scene. Next is the Battle of Eddington. In the Season 1 finale, fans finally got to see the Saxons go head-to-head with the Vikings at the Battle of Eddington. With Guthrum's forces still holding Winchester, Uhtred and Alfred attempted to drive out of Wessex once more and for all. Although it looked like the Vikings had the advantage, Scorpa realized they had made a fatal mistake and switched tactics. While Uhtred and Alfred managed to subdue and eliminate 2 big threats, they suffered a great loss also. Not only did Uhtred lose a right-hand man in Leofric, but he also lost his lover, Isolde. The victory was well-deserved. Also, we have the Battle of Dunham. After years of believing their sister was dead, Ragnar and Uhtred joined forces to end Jartan's torment. While Uhtred tried to infiltrate the fortress of his crew, Ragnar led the distraction, which allowed the plan to succeed easily. The Jartan and Sven, occupied with Ragnar, Uhtred unlocked the gate and let their other forces in. After abusing and torturing her, fans felt it was satisfying and for Sven to die at the hands of Thyra. Even though it was quite brutal and gruesome, Ragnar also closed his family by killing Jartan, a family reunited at last. Then we have the death of Queen Isolde. Uhtred crossed paths with Isolde, Charlie Murphy, when plundering across Cornwall, quickly falling for the pagan queen with apparent clairvoyant abilities. Of course, the way she ambiguously promised to be with Uhtred until the end suggested her days were numbered. Such language tends to tempt fate in shows like The Last Kingdom. But while not unexpected, Isolde's violent death remains a sad moment in the climax of Season 1, beheaded by wicked Viking warrior Scorpa of the White Horse. We also saw the death of Halig. Halig Gerald Kearns was a humble and honorable Saxon man who was so loyal to Uhtred that he was sold into slavery after King Uhtred's betrayal. They were held captive on a ship together and subjected to terrible abuse. Their only escape attempt thwarted and punished with Haig's brutal death. Strapped to the front of the boat, he was slowly drowned by the waves as it sailed across the sea, rowed by Uhtred and his fellow slaves who could hear him suffer. A truly horrifying end for a character that didn't deserve it. But rest assured, he was avenged. The death of Bad Omen, Abedidred. Sometimes you can't wait to see a character get what's coming to him or her. This was one such occasion. Abedidred, David Schofield, was as spiteful as they come and the true architect of Uhtred's banishment to slavery. Not only was Haig's blood on his hands, but he also attempted to force Uhtred's lover, Gisela, into marriage with a man she despised. He was a bad egg through and through, so when Uhtred stabbed him in a fit of rage, it was hard not to feel like justice was served. Next up is Becca's death. Becca's death hit us like a boulder tumbling down a mountain. And like Uhtred, we were left wondering where we go from here. Becca had always been Uhtred's strongest supporter, and to see him left in the mud as Uhtred flees Bebbanburg was a hard pill to swallow. Losing actor Ian Hart makes Becca's death even harder to take. Still, Bjorka went out in the most Bjorka way possible, protecting Uhtred's son. We're glad we have that to hold on to, especially considering what Uhtred allegedly did with the body. Then we have the Battle of Skade. After giving up Skade in exchange for Ethelflaed's life, Uhtred traveled to Beornflot to try and get her back. Upon challenging Heiston, Uhtred lured him to a field on the outskirts of the fortress and faced off against his forces. Despite Alfred turning up with his army, the episode ended on a cliffhanger and he refused to intervene. Since Edward refused to watch Uhtred and his men be slaughtered, he ordered the march and helped the Dane slayer fend them off. Uhtred may not have gotten Skade back, but he did put a dent in the Heiston army and reclaim Beornflot. Next is the death of Oda, the Younger elder. The odds were a truly unfortunate line of noblemen. Introduced in Season 1 of The Last Kingdom as two of King Alfred's most trusted advisors, it soon became apparent that Oda the Younger, Brian Vernon, was not to be trusted. His loyalty to the crown was exposed as fleeting when he sided with the Danes, believing Alfred to be dead after the invasion of Wessex. You can tell from his inclusion on this list, it didn't end well for him. Add that to the Younger's death stands out as one of Season 1's most shocking, as it was dealt by his father's hand. When Oda the Elder, Simon Kuntz, realized that Alfred was still alive and planning to recapture Wessex, he knew his son was doomed to execution for treason. Rather than go down with him, he chose to make the ultimate display of loyalty to Alfred by taking a knife to his son as he addressed the people of their state. The drastic decision was made with sadness, leaving him without an heir. In the second season, as Alfred threatened to destroy Wessex by paying a huge ransom to the Danes, Oda the Elder realized the devastation this would cause in the long run. He acted against the king, quite rightly, summoning an army to fight the Vikings, resulting in a crucial victory for Wessex. However, for disobeying the king's orders and risking the life of his kidnapped daughter, Oda was branded a traitor, killed himself in prison while awaiting execution. Without doubt, one of the most unjust deaths in The Last Kingdom. Next is also the death of Skade. One of The Last Kingdom's most despicable figures, Skade, via Sophie Lochnice, was a sadistic and bloodthirsty seer who destroyed men from the inside out with her curses. Uhtred came under one such spell and felt its effects terribly, learning that the only way to break it would be to kill Skade without any blood being spilled. But time passed without any action, and it seemed as if he had fallen for her seduction. Yet everyone fooled when characters in the show to the viewers watching at home, making Skade's grim fate all the more shocking. During a steamy bath in a secluded stretch of river, Uhtred suddenly held her underwater until she drowned in one of The Last Kingdom's paused moments to date. Next is the death of Ragnar the Younger. The Last Kingdom has no shortage of truly shocking moments, and this was yet another. Uhtred's adoptive brother Ragnar, Tobias Settlement, had been a friendly face throughout the first 3 seasons, proven to be a reasonable man as well as a fierce warrior. So when Athelwald hatched a crazy plan to kill him, no one thought the power-hungry menace would succeed. Alas, he crept into Ragnar's tent in the dead of night and stabbed him repeatedly in his sleep, sending him to the cold world of Niflheim, hell, rather than glorious Valhalla, heaven, according to the Vikings' beliefs. A dishonorable way to go for one of Uhtred's key allies. Finally, we have the death of Thyra. Perhaps the most upsetting moment on this list, the murder of Thyra, Julia Bach-Wig, is the end of Season 3, made for extremely uncomfortable viewing. After being rescued from years of abuse and captivity, Uhtred's adoptive sister finally found Wessex happy with her marriage to Father Bjorka. Thyra overcame the trauma of her imprisonment and treated everyone with kindness, only to meet a dreadful fate at the hands of a cruel man who hated her solely because she was a Dane. She hid under the floorboards when he followed her home, but found herself trapped when he set the house on fire, tragically perishing in the blaze. The show's never been shy about killing off major players, and given the large ensemble cast set to appear, it seems likely that not everyone will be making it out alive. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader, no surprise in the writer, no surprise in the reader. Please take your time to like and subscribe to my channel, then do not forget to click on the notification icon to get new video updates.